Hello everyone, this is Professor Robert Solis. Welcome to this next video lesson. We're going to be talking about the tab index and a couple of other things. So the first thing that I want you to do is to create this form, and let me go over some of the different items here on the form so that you can copy or create them and then create the same names that I have. So first of all, in terms of the names for the different text boxes, you'll see this one is txt first name. And then we have txt last name, txt address, txt city, txt state, and then txt zip. We have the two buttons over here, so this one we're going to call btn submit, and we're going to call this one btn exit. And then finally we have a label down here, and we're going to call that lbl result. Okay, so those are the various items that I want you to place on your form. The text property that we're going to give to the form is TabIndex, and I removed the minimize and the maximize button. So if you want to pause the video to go ahead and create this graphical user interface, go ahead and do so. At this point, I want to generate the code that we're going to need to be able to tab properly from text box to text box. So we're really not going to do anything. I shouldn't say generate the code. I should say change the properties in such a way as to have an effect on the tab index. Well, first of all, what does tab index mean? Let me run the program. And when the program runs, let's determine where the cursor is blinking or if it is even blinking. Oh, there it is. So it looks like it's blinking over here where it says first name on the first name text box. I'm going to press tab on my keyboard. Ready? Here we go. Alright, so from here it looks like it went to submit. I'm going to press tab again. Okay, it looks like it went to the last name text box. Let me press tab again. Now it's on address, tab, city, tab, state, tab, zip, tab. Now it's in the exit button, tab, and we're right back to the first name text box. Alright, let me close the program. Now, I don't want it to go, or the tab order to go from the first name text box to the button to the last name text box and so forth and so on. I want the cursor to blink right here where it says first name text box. Then when I press tab, I want it to go to last name, address, city, state, zip, and then when I press tab again, it goes right back to first name, to the first name text box. All right. So how do we do that? Well, that's part of this idea of tab indexing and tab order. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the first name text box, and let's scroll down on the properties, and you'll notice over here it says tab index, and we also have this thing tab stop. Well, tab stop is just simply asking, do you want this thing to be affected by the tab? And if so, when the tab stops, if it happens to stop here, do you want it to have an effect on this? Well, to have an effect just simply means the cursor is blinking here. If I select this button over here, you'll notice that for the tab index, it has 2, and then it says tab stop true. Well, I don't want the tab to stop here. You saw how I went from here to here. I don't want that. In fact, I don't want either of these buttons to have an effect in terms of tab stop. So I'm going to change this to false by double clicking here or using the drop down. Same thing with the exit button, tab stop, false. Now labels do not have a tab stop, so if I over here you'll see there's no tab stop over here for the label. You won't see the tab stop at this particular location, so I don't have to worry about labels. Only in this case these two buttons and then these text boxes. Now, do I want the tab to stop at this particular text box or this one or this one or this one? Yes, and so I will leave the tab stop true for all of the text boxes, and by default you can see that the tab stop is true for all of those. Now the first thing that I want is the tab stop to activate here, or the tab index. I want this to be the first item that is affected, and then I want to continue from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate this tab index. I'm going to change that. So 0 is the first tab index. Then I'm going to go over here and type in 1. So I'm going to double click and type in 1, and so forth and so on for whatever order I want. So this is going to be 2, 3. This will be 4. This guy will be 5. And that's it. Let me go back over here and double check my work. So this starts off at tab index 0. And I'm going to keep my eyes over here. Tab index 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Perfect. So now let me save my work and run the program. And let's see what happens. Well, first of all, when the program first starts, notice this. The cursor is blinking in the first name text box. We want that. Now let's see what happens when I press tab. Wow, it went to the last name. Nice. How about this? Press tab again, address, tab, tab, tab. Now let's see what happens from zip. You see the cursor is blinking here. When I press tab, it went right back to the first name text box. And that's exactly what I want in the program. Now, if you want to have the submit and the exit be affected by a tab stop, that's no problem. I can just simply say, yeah, let's have a tab stop here. So true. Let's have a tab stop here. Change that to true. Now, since this zip is at tab index 5, that means that this guy right here, I'll make that tab index 6, and I'll make this guy tab index 7. Press enter, and let's save our work and run the program. Now let's see what happens. So here's the program. Tab, 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 and then right back to the beginning again. Cool. All right. So that's how the tab index works. Now let's see if we can change some shortcut properties for the submit and also the exit button. At this point, let's click the submit button, and let's make it so that if I were to press Alt S, that's the same thing as clicking the submit button. And the way to do that is to click on the text property and place an ampersand right in front of the S. Press enter. So what that ampersand does is that basically gives this thing an Alt keyboard shortcut. So on your keyboard you see the Alt key. We call that the alternate key or the Alt key. And so you would press that and the letter S, and that would be the same thing as clicking submit. For exit, we can do the same thing. So we'll click the exit property and put an ampersand in front of the letter X. And so that would be the same thing as clicking the exit button. All right, I don't have any code yet for the exit button, so let me go ahead and do that. Let me just simply double click over here, and we'll just simply say close, open and close parentheses with a semicolon, so that we're going to close the actual program when someone clicks the exit button or when we use that keyboard shortcut. So let me save my work, run the program, and let's see what happens. Now I'm going to place my mouse pointer right here so you see that I'm not using my mouse. On the keyboard I am now holding down Alt, and then I'm going to press the letter X on the keyboard, and now notice what happens. It just closed the program. Let's do that again. So if I were to press, let's see what happens if I just simply press and remove Alt. So press and remove Alt. Okay, now notice over here the letter X is underlined. Notice over here the letter S is underlined. So let's see if I press X, what happens. So nothing happens. I have to press and hold down Alt and then press X. Now I'm letting go both of the keys, and you see what happened. We've closed our program. So if you need to create alternate keyboard shortcuts, you use the ampersand in front of any given letter. Now in this case I used the letter X as the keyboard shortcut, the alternate keyboard shortcut, but if I wanted to choose another letter, say for example maybe the letter E in this case. So press enter, run the program. Now I'm going to press Alt X, which is what worked before, so let's see here, Alt X, and it has no effect. Now let's try Alt E. So Alt E, and yep, that has an effect because I placed the ampersand in front of the letter E. So that's the way to get the various keyboard shortcuts, alternate keyboard shortcuts for any of the buttons that you have on your screen. And that's it. So this is Professor Robert Solis. I hope this video lesson was helpful. Have a good day. See you next time.